Get off my fucking TV and save me the misery. And all you fucking goons, just grab a cold beer. The man of the hour is finally here. JD from New York, 206. It's time for Off the Script. JD from New York, 206. It's time for Off the Script. Yeah!
What is going on, guys? JD from New York here on this is not the normal time I upload, but who gives a shit? This is the number one fucking podcast in your subscription boxes right here on YouTube.com. This is Off the Script, episode 125, part number 4, right before Monday Night Raw. Or you could save this for Monday Night Raw because we know it's going to be fucking garbage, as always. I'm JD. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I wanted to get this episode out at its usual time, and its normal time at 11 o'clock, but last night I went to go visit my parents after I got back from New Jersey, and I was just so fucking exhausted, man. The drive and eating dinner and then the heat and humidity last night just took so much out of me, so I figured, you know what? You guys aren't going to give a shit. As long as you have Off the Script in your sub boxes, you guys are going to be okay with everything, so I figured I upload this right before Monday Night Raw, and that's exactly what we're going to do. I got a lot of news for you guys tonight, right before the show goes live on the USA Network at 8 p.m. You'll be falling asleep by 9 p.m., so Off the Script could be a savior tonight for many of you. Top 4 matches for SummerSlam announced per Dave Meltzer. Please take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt, goons. But Dave Meltzer apparently has the top 4 matches for SummerSlam ready to go. We are going to discuss that. And the title match does not include Dean Ambrose. Yes, I kid you not, it does not include Dean Ambrose. Who the fuck does it include? I'm pretty sure you can put 2 and 2 together and you'll get a drug addict named Roman Reigns. But that's a completely different story. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Before we get into the news, guys, always Barbershop Window for your t-shirts. That is Barbershop Window, official partner of Off the Script, linked down below in the description if you guys want to go get your Roman Reigns t-shirts and your Goon City t-shirts, which a lot of you guys actually tweeted me today. I appreciate that so much, man. It makes me feel so good knowing that you love the t-shirts and that you're wearing them to Monday Night Raw tonight. So thank you to everybody that tweeted me your Roman shirts and your Goon City t-shirts. That's fucking great, man. If you want your own, barbershopwindow.com, official partner of Off the Script. Twitter and YouTube, JD from NY206. Please make sure you follow and subscribe. I tweet all through Monday Night Raw, so if you guys want my up-to-the-minute feelings about Monday Night Raw, Twitter is the place to be. WrestleCrate.com, and on Twitter at WrestleCrates. I lost the train of thought for a second, man. I'm still very, very exhausted. WrestleCrate.com, use the coupon code JDSENTME for an instant 10% off. You got the iTunes podcast that went live on 5 different platforms. iTunes, PodBean, Stitcher Radio, AudioBoom, and Google Play Music. Make sure you guys go download that. All the links for all those 5 different sources are linked down below in the description. And as always, patreon.com if you guys want to continue to support and pledge to this very podcast. That's patreon.com/JD from NY206. Make sure you guys take some time to read that mission statement and find out what I'm about and what I want to accomplish and what I want to do, man. That's patreon.com/JD from NY206. Thank you to everybody that pledged over the weekend. You guys are fucking amazing. Now, let's get on with the news, man. Let's get on with the news. The top 4 matches for SummerSlam have been announced. Well, according to Dave Meltzer, they haven't formally been announced. But Wrestling Observer Radio planned the marquee matches, the top 4 matches for SummerSlam. Seth Rollins versus... Will it be Dean Ambrose? Of course not. Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship. We don't know if Reigns' suspension has changed those plans at all, but that was the planned match at one point. If this match is still happening, then that sort of gives away the result for Battleground's main event. They could have Reigns win the title back at Battleground, which would be a fucking monumental, colossal fucking error on WWE's behalf. Or they can have Rollins win it and then leave Reigns to challenge Rollins at SummerSlam. I say just let Dean Ambrose fucking win it. I don't know what the fuck everybody's talking about. Oh, Dean Ambrose is going to drop the title. Wait till you read the story or listen to the story I got after this one. Dean Ambrose is not given a fair shot with the championship, and I don't understand why. It's really starting to fucking irritate me. But right now, according to Dave Meltzer, Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns is penciled in for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte for the Women's Championship. This is a no-brainer. A fucking retard could have figured this one out. This has been the plan for months, and the reason why Sasha was off TV for so many weeks, so that they could keep her fresh until her feud with Charlotte kicked off. No doubt in my mind, that is where Sasha Banks will win the WWE Women's Championship. John Cena versus AJ Styles. The plan has always been for Styles to be a major player in the company, and it is a smart move to hold off on their return singles match until SummerSlam. Cena, Enzo, and Big Cass will face Styles in the club in a 6-man tag at Battleground. Now, with the draft, I don't know what's going on with the draft and the roster split. You guys know my idea if you've been listening to me. Cena and Styles having a WWE World Heavyweight Championship match at SummerSlam. And this tournament would immediately take place to crown a SmackDown branded champion. You know, Styles and Cena, you could keep them apart for the time being. And then when SummerSlam comes, they meet in the finals, because I predict they will be drafted to the same brand to continue this feud. I think Styles is going to SmackDown. I think John Cena is going to SmackDown. 8 men, 16 men, however you want to have it. I know Vince McMahon doesn't like tournaments all too much. He's got the huge Cruiserweight tournament, the Cruiserweight Classic going on. That's 36 guys. You know, I don't know. We had a few tournaments this year with the Tag Team Championship. And we've seen a lot more tournaments in recent memory in 2016 than previous years. But that's what I would do to crown a new SmackDown branded champion. And I would have John Cena versus AJ Styles be that finals. And I wouldn't have those guys meet until the main event of SummerSlam. That's just me, though. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. And if you like that idea that I brought to you many, many weeks ago. And then obviously Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. Brock Lesnar, coming off his impressive victory over Mark Hunt at UFC 200, goes against a returning Randy Orton. Many people do not think that this is a good idea because, number one, Randy Orton is coming back from extensive surgery, which kept him out over a year. Is it going to be a smart move on WWE's behalf that Randy Orton is getting in there with Brock Lesnar, who all he does is fucking suplex everybody into oblivion? Is that going to be okay for Randy Orton's neck? Is that going to be okay for Randy Orton's shoulder? I do not know. The second thing here is Randy Orton more than likely is coming back to automatically lose to Brock Lesnar, because there's no way in fucking hell that Brock Lesnar is losing this match after he just came off an impressive victory over Mark Hunt, and WWE wants him looking the absolute strongest he could look, because no question, Lesnar's going to be back in the octagon. We just don't know when, you know. I heard today, I don't know who the fuck I was listening to. I don't know if I was listening to Jim Ross or Solomonster. He mentioned something about Madison Square Garden in New York City being an event for UFC because the ban is lifted in New York City for UFC events. I don't know how true that is or not, but they're trying to get something planned for November at Madison Square Garden. Brock Lesnar could make another return there. That would be fucking great, you know. They want to make it big. Lesnar be on the card. That would be fantastic. So Lesnar could realistically, if they want, you know, he could take care of Randy Orton, no problem. He'd be good to go, start training for November, be back in the octagon at Madison Square Garden right in time for the winter. I don't know. Because, you know, Dana White, especially with everything that's going on with UFC, they just sold the company today for $4 billion. I didn't read up on that, so I don't have any information on that as of right now because I was at work all day. But, you know, if they want to make this huge deal and they want to fucking make a splash with the new owners and in Madison Square Garden, a Brock Lesnar at Madison Square Garden in November would be a fucking great idea. But those are the top 4 matches right now. Rollins reigns for the title. Banks versus Charlotte for the women's title. Cena versus AJ Styles in a return match from the last one that they had. And Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton in a marquee special attraction match. This will be Randy Orton's return to the WWE. How they build on this match, I have no fucking idea. All that I know of is that they pretty much debuted in the WWE 14 years ago, right around the same time. So I am assuming that a lot of this build is going to play off that these guys pretty much came up at the same time from the same developmental territory that WWE had. So we'll see what happens with that. SummerSlam, that's how I feel about it right now. We have to see how the rest of the matches pan out and how the rest of the card comes to be. And we all know that's going to be a 4-hour pay-per-view on the WWE Network from the Barclays Center. They're going to make it a big deal. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn's happening that same weekend as well. And then Monday Night Raw. All 3 events, just like last year, will be happening in the same arena. Speaking of Dean Ambrose, apparently he's dropping the WWE title very soon. WWE planning Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins for SummerSlam, which we just talked about. At Battleground, Dean Ambrose will defend the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against both Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns in a triple threat match. After Roman's suspension, there is a lot of extra hype going into this match, despite the WWE wanting to see a match between all 3 members of The Shield for years. According to a report from RingsideNews.com, Ambrose may be walking into Battleground the WWE Champion, but he will not be walking out the WWE Champion. Dave Meltzer claimed that the plan going into SummerSlam is Reigns versus Rollins too, but the question is if that will be for the WWE Championship. He didn't mention Ambrose at all in his report, and that is not a good sign. It's unclear if Reigns' suspension has changed WWE's plans for that match, like they did at Money in the Bank, but there is a strong possibility that Reigns or Rollins walks out of Battleground, the new WWE Champion. At this moment, we're expected Reigns or Rollins to be the top 2 stars of Monday Night Raw, with AJ Styles and John Cena as the 2 top guys for SmackDown. Where does Dean Ambrose fit into all these plans? I have no fucking idea. But if I was to choose a brand for Dean Ambrose, I would put him on Monday Night Raw. Rollins, Reigns, and Ambrose all on the same brand. I do not like all this talk about Dean Ambrose dropping the WWE title, because if this was merely a fucking plan that was made last minute because of Roman Reigns' suspension, you got to think of it this way. This is really screwing somebody else in that Money in the Bank ladder match. They potentially could have screwed Kevin Owens, who might have been the original planned winner for Money in the Bank. And then they caught wind of Roman Reigns' suspension, and they gave it to Dean Ambrose because they wanted to shock everybody and do the whole Shield triple threat. And they wanted to have that moment in which all members of the Shield, former members of the Shield, held the WWE Championship at the same time in the same match in one night. So, I don't know what WWE's plan is here. I don't want Dean Ambrose to be one of those pity cases that they gave him the briefcase and then the WWE title because of what Roman Reigns did. You know, Roman Reigns, again, add this one to the fucking list. How many fucking people did he upset? How many plans is he going to fucking ruin? You can add Dean Ambrose to that list. Now, if this is really the case, Roman Reigns is going to come back and he's automatically going to be thrusted right into the main event plans. What does that say about Dean Ambrose? It means, fuck you, Dean Ambrose. That's what it's saying. That's what WWE is pretty much saying to Dean Ambrose. Yeah, you're a pity champion. We gave you the title because of Roman Reigns being suspended. You had no fucking plans whatsoever to hold that title. You didn't factor into any plans that we had. You're just a pity party. And that's fucking shitty. That is absolutely fucking pathetic on Dean Ambrose's behalf. And fuck WWE if that's the way they're thinking. Because Dean Ambrose has worked his fucking ass off just as much as anybody else. And he's done everything that they asked him to do. And he deserves it. He deserves at least a legit run with the fucking title. Why are you going to take it off of him after 1 month? He hasn't proved anything. He's been selling merchandise. He's a fan favorite. He's a fucking WWE superstar that people do not mind seeing. And the live attendance figures that WWE was so adamant about when Roman Reigns was champion, that Dean Ambrose was headlining the B shows and Roman Reigns was headlining the A shows, that Dean Ambrose, more times than not, was neck and neck, if not better, than what Roman Reigns was doing. So why would you take the title off of Dean Ambrose to give it right back to Seth Rollins? And you mean to tell me that WWE has a fucking inkling of an idea to give the fucking title back to Roman Reigns? What sense does that make? WWE is going to do a lot of damage if they give the title back to Roman Reigns so quick. Because it's going to say, okay, this guy fucked up, right? And now he's going to be rewarded because that's what we want. He was in our plans all along. Yeah, he fucked up. People make mistakes. Forgive and forget, right? That'll be like Dana White letting John Jones back into the UFC after 3 fuck-ups. Yeah, we'll just give him the title back and we'll have him fight Daniel Cormier at the next pay-per-view. Because people make mistakes, and they're forgiven. Get the fuck out of here, man. Roman Reigns as a WWE champion, and I don't need to fucking say this anymore. He was a WWE champion, and he was irresponsible. There's no way. I don't give a shit if this was your first violation, a half a violation. I don't give a shit if you farted at a meeting that Vince McMahon was holding, and the entire room was quiet, and everybody in that room heard it. You fucked up. You made a mistake, okay? You embarrassed yourself. There's no way that WWE can even think about putting this guy back in the main event, especially as the WWE champion, immediately after coming back. Fuck that. The guy has to earn trust after this incident. And you can't have him earn trust 4 days before a pay-per-view. Doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. I don't know what WWE is going to do, but they got a potential shitstorm waiting for them if they're going to take the title off Ambrose and even think about giving it back to Roman Reigns. And if this was the case, why didn't they have Seth Rollins? If Dean Ambrose did not factor into their plans going into Summerslam as the WWE champion, why didn't they just keep it on Seth Rollins and have him run with the title? Because everybody apparently wanted to see that anyway, but WWE always has to take the long route around the things that make sense. I don't understand it. So you mean you want to risk Dean Ambrose momentum, right? And you want to risk his star power, unless they're going to take the title off of Dean Ambrose and put him on another brand and give him that world title. I don't know what the fuck sense this makes. It really doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why they just didn't give Rollins the title at Money in the Bank and not even factor Dean Ambrose into any of this. I don't even know why this triple threat match is happening at Battleground. Still to this day, I don't know why it's happening. We should be getting Roman Reigns sitting this one out. Rollins, Ambrose at Battleground. Roman Reigns comes back. He interferes or whatever the fucking case may be. And then they have the triple threat for SummerSlam. At least Dean Ambrose would have a month with the fucking title. Or 2 months with the title. No, you want to take it right off him. He didn't even have it. He didn't even defend the title yet. And they're already talking about taking it off him. This is bullshit. Absolute fucking bullshit. I don't know what's going on, but Reigns versus Rollins, according to Dave Meltzer, is what they're going with for SummerSlam. Please, how many times are we going to have to see this before we get sick and tired of it? Especially with Roman Reigns and his redemption comeback. Give me a fucking break. Apollo Crews has some backstage heat with WWE officials due to sloppy ring work. I don't know if they mixing up Apollo Crews with Hacksaw Jim Duggan or Sergeant Slaughter. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Or maybe they're confusing Apollo Crews with Mark Henry. I don't know. But outward appearances, you'd think that Apollo Crews was doing pretty well on the main roster so far. He's had a few victories over WWE champion Sheamus, and he's been getting some decent television time. It was reported a few months ago that Vince McMahon was high on Apollo Crews' in-ring work and raw talent, but they were low on his personality and mic skills. More recently, they've had an issue with his in-ring work as well, which I don't know why or where this came about, but according to a report from DailyWrestlingNews.com, DWN, there is some backstage heat with WWE officials after some blown spots and sloppiness with his in-ring work. The WWE style isn't easy to work, but Crews had a match with Chris Jericho over a month ago. Over a month ago! Yes, they're referencing a match that happened a month ago, and they're still having backstage heat on Apollo Crews. That didn't go over well backstage with many who were watching, and it was one fucking mistake. It was a kip-up that was miscalculated. Not like the rest of the match was a fucking botch. Since then, it seems he picked up some bad heat, and he has been watched very closely ever since to make sure he is improving, which is probably why they booked him in a feud with Sheamus. There are many people who would argue that Apollo Crews spent too little time in NXT before coming to the main roster, and this heat he's getting is a result of his inexperience. On paper, everything should be fine. Well, this is what happens when you pull someone out of NXT that was only there for less than a year. What do you expect, WWE? And more times than not, his work in NXT was impeccable. Perfect. Working matches with Balor and Joe and Zayn and everybody else down there. Ty Dillinger and Tyler Breeze. His work was fucking spot on. But all of a sudden, he appears to have backstage heat because of sloppy work. They didn't reference anything. They only referenced the Jericho match. So either one, this report is bullshit, or number two, the officials backstage in WWE have absolutely nothing going on in their daily routine, and they need something to fucking complain about. Just like we complain about literally everything on this channel. So, I don't know what's going on. Apollo Crews will be fine, and I really wish they would build him up as something special. I mean, the guy's got so much fucking talent and potential. I feel like he's just being wasted. And if there's one guy that the draft is going to help, and the brand extension is going to help, it is Apollo Crews. Guys like Crews and Corbin and Tyler Breeze. Those guys that were from, that came up from NXT and were pretty much directionless. The draft is going to help those guys the most. So, Apollo Crews has backstage heat due to sloppy in-ring work. He seems fine to me. I don't know where this heat is coming from, but Apollo Crews will be fine. WWE interested in signing Kurt Hawkins, Jimmy Wang Yang. Yeah, your mother played with my Wang Yang, you fucking goon. And Lucha Underground stars. We all know that the WWE is looking on the independent scene and reaching out to former WWE stars to help fill rosters for the upcoming bland split. Yeah, it's gonna be bland. Brand split. There have been many names mentioned that WWE has contacted, but some new names have come to light that WWE has contacted for returns to the company. According to a report from DWN, Daily Wrestling News, the powers that be are interested in bringing back former WWE superstars Kurt Hawkins, who has been working with Mr. Grimm's Toy Show, and Jimmy Wang Yang. Where these guys fit in, I have no fucking idea. Both names don't seem like the kind of big names that WWE typically would go out and go get and sign to a contract, but they do offer a lot of depth of WWE's roster going into the brand split. WWE's logic here is to bring back veterans with the nostalgia factor plus experience and name to put the younger guys over and create new stars, which is really good for many of the talents. Apparently, WWE is also interested in watching a lot of the talent that knows the lucha style. For example, they are interested in lucha stars Valador Jr. and Rush. The latter had a WWE tryout last year when the company signed Andrade Cien Almas. I don't give a shit about this story. I don't give a shit if Kurt Hawkins or Jimmy Wang Yang come back to the WWE at all. I mean, Kurt Hawkins is decent. Jimmy Wang Yang, I mean, why the fuck would you bring him back? Unless you're going to put him in a cruiserweight division for NXT, and you're going to have him build new stars and help create new stars there. I see absolutely no use for Jimmy Wang Yang on the main roster. Not unless you want to fucking mimic what you did with the first brand split, which is create garbage and give us garbage. I don't know why these names are being brought up, but WWE, for the love of God, please, I hope you have a plan for this brand split, because right now I am not liking everything that I'm reading and hearing. It's just going to be a fucking failure like I expect it to be. Chris Jericho's current WWE run may not end until 2017. The gift of Jericho has been one of the best runs he's ever had in WWE. I don't know why they said that. One of the best runs he's ever had in WWE. Give me a fucking break. Chris Jericho has been back since January and has had a great run of matches that is very exciting to see. And it's exciting to see what he's going to do next. Throughout his current run, he's been able to face a lot of new talent in fresh matches, including a four-match saga with AJ Styles that even had a mini tag team run for the phenomenal one. Recently, Y2J spoke with the International Business Times to discuss his latest run with WWE and the possible end of it, since there is some speculation about when Jericho has to return to his band Fozzy. This is what Chris Jericho had to say on when he is leaving the WWE, and I quote, "Fozzy, we made a concerted idea not to do anything in 2016. We're going to do a new record. It'll be released in early 2017. Then it's back to full-time Fozzy. Until then, I'm having so much fun in the WWE. I plan to continue for the next who knows how long it's going to be. I'd never say, but suffice it to say, it's going to be for a little while longer for sure. So, listen, I'm pretty sure we can all come to an agreement that Jericho in the WWE is never a bad thing. So Jericho will be with the WWE for all of 2016. What they need to do, and what Jericho needs to do, is put out a fucking Fozzy record that is really, really good, because they haven't had one of those since Chasing the Grail, I believe. So they need to do something, because the last few records were fucking awful. That they went too mainstream, they went too poppy, and Rich Ward is capable of so much fucking more. I mean, Rich Ward is one of the best guitarists in metal right now, and you're telling me this is what you're coming up with fucking Rich Ward as your lead guitarist? Pretty much all of Stuck Mojo as your fucking band, and this is what you come up with? There was maybe one or two songs on the last record that actually were decent. Other than that, it's nothing but mainstream garbage. Jericho, get your band together and release some fucking good music like I know you can. That should be your main priority right now. WWE pushing Zack Ryder for a feud with Rusev at Battleground. This may be the year of Zack Ryder. I hear a lot of Zack Ryder fucking rumors going around. At the end of WWE's 4th of July edition of Monday Night Raw, which I did not watch the main event, by the way, Big Show and Zack Ryder emerged as the final two survivors from Team USA. Ooh. They were victorious over Team International. On paper, the entire match could have been looked at as a simple 4th of July treat without any implications on WWE programming. That was their first mistake. But that doesn't seem to be the case for Zack Ryder. According to a rumor from Cage Side Seats, there are some plans for Zack Ryder to work a program with Rusev for the United States Championship. It's unclear, but Ryder's win on Raw could lead to a match with the Bulgarian Brute at Battleground. That could be true because Rusev defeated Titus O'Neil to lead off Raw, and that could be the end of their feud. Ryder may have been the Miracle Man of WrestleMania 32 with his Intercontinental Championship win in the ladder match, but it's very unlikely he takes the U.S. title off of Rusev. It's not that Ryder isn't capable as the U.S. champion, but he's consistently been used to get Rusev over and give him a win when he needs it on Raw or SmackDown. However, this could be his moment to return to glory. Listen, you know, I thought Zack Ryder, a lot of you fucking goons out there, made mention when Rusev won that Battle Royal a few months ago that he was the right winner. And I said Zack Ryder should have won that Battle Royal to fight Kalisto at whatever fucking pay-per-view it was. It ended up being Rusev versus Kalisto in a complete throwaway fucking match. I would have loved to see Zack Ryder win the United States title in a hard-fought, athletic match against Kalisto because I think their styles would have gelled very well and it would have been an overall better match. Instead, they gave it to Rusev. Rusev destroyed and dominated. He won the United States title. Really hasn't done anything with it since. Now, I think Zack Ryder and Rusev could have a series of great matches if they let them go. I would love to see Zack Ryder be pushed, finally. I don't know what's taken I don't know what WWE is waiting on with Zack Ryder. I don't know what took them so long to realize what they have in Zack Ryder. I think Zack Ryder is a very, very underutilized, underrated talent. And this might mean a U.S. championship. It may not mean a U.S. championship. But all that I know is I would like to see Zack Ryder in an important role on WWE television. I think he's worked his ass off. He certainly deserves it. He's hungry. He still has that hunger. You know, you look at him and a lot of these guys being wasted like he's been, you know, they would feel defeated. Zack Ryder has never let up being hungry. And that's the one thing I notice when Zack Ryder is there. He always wants it. He wants this very badly. And I hope WWE gives it to him because he certainly deserves it. So, Zack Ryder versus Rusev at Battleground, possibly for the United States Championship in a match for the title that I would not mind investing my time in because I do enjoy the work of Zack Ryder. Neville expected to feud with Chris Jericho once he returns. There's been some inconsistency in the rumor mill about when WWE is planning to bring back Neville. It's possible that WWE could wait until after the WWE draft, but the latest rumor claimed he'd return in August, although it seems that the man that creative forgot, I was going to say the man that gravity forgot, it's the man that creative forgot, could drop in from the sky at any moment on WWE programming. We have a much better idea of what he'll be doing creatively when he returns. According to a rumor from CagesideSeats.com, Neville is expected to pick up right where he left off after he broke his ankle on Monday Night Raw. The rumor is that his first feud back after returning will be with Chris Jericho, which makes sense. You know, I don't know how they're going to play that on TV because Jericho physically didn't break Neville's ankle. It happened on accident. So we're going to see what happens with that. I know they've had a few matches in the past at house shows. I believe Jericho fought Neville at the Beast in the East on July 4th last year. So they might be picking up after that. I like both of their styles, and Jericho could be used simply to get a great match out of Neville and put him over, because a win over Jericho is always a good thing. It's already been revealed that the two men will be having matches on WWE's overseas tour of Australia and New Zealand. It only makes sense that the two men work together on Raw or SmackDown, depending on where both men are drafted on July 19th. There was a rumor that Neville could be involved in the Intercontinental Championship hunt after his return, but it seems WWE may want to get his legs under him with Y2J first. That's a good idea. And then The Miz versus Neville can take off for SummerSlam if Neville gets back sooner rather than later. Neville as the IC champion, I am all for that idea. WWE planning New Day versus the Wyatt family at the Compound to top TNA's Final Deletion. Say whatever you want about the Final Deletion, but the most creative part about it was putting a feud into a much different setting than a wrestling arena or anything we've seen a million times before. However, some bad ideas were for that segment, but that is a good idea. It's an idea that WWE is thinking creatively about doing the same thing with this feud between the New Day and the Wyatt family. According to a report from Cage Side Seats, WWE could book the New Day versus the Wyatt family in a compound match that would be a direct attempt to top what TNA did this past week with the Final Deletion. The Wyatt family is such a strange gimmick that fighting them in their natural habitat would almost be a death sentence for anyone heading into Bray Wyatt's trap. Xavier Woods has been spooked by the mind games and has made his character a little bit much more serious. It'll be very interesting to see how WWE decides to book this compound dynamic in their feud. The expectation is that the Wyatt family will continue to chase the WWE Tag Team Championships at Battleground, so a unique setting could be an extra dynamic to make the match even more important. Listen, you know, we mentioned this on yesterday's Off the Script, the one that I posted last night. You know, WWE's like that fucking cockblock. You go to a fucking party and you're talking to a girl that you find attractive, and WWE's always got to weasel themselves in. You know, TNA did something unique. You know, not everybody enjoyed it, but it got several people in the industry talking. So WWE, as always, got to stick their nose in someone else's business, and they got to take an idea that is not theirs, and they have to do it better. They got to try and do it better. You know, if they do something that's similar versus the Wyatt family with the New Day, listen, I'm going to watch. I'm going to enjoy it. Is it going to be better than what Brother Nero is doing? Of course not, because Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy add to that entire dynamic. Brother Nero and Matt Hardy, I mean, this is Matt Hardy's best fucking gimmick. I would stick with Matt Hardy. I said this in my review. Matt Hardy has a gimmick that is going to stick with him for the rest of his career. You know? And he transformed himself into something that people enjoy. And they're liking this new direction. And I don't know if WWE is going to top what Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy did as characters. Yeah, they got the New Day. Yeah, they got the Wyatt family. But what are they going to do? The only thing that they got is the production value that I know WWE goes all out for when this type of thing comes about, you know. But I don't like that the WWE has to try and top TNA. Then they'll be the first to tell you, yeah, TNA is not direct competition. But yes, they are. Because if you're taking their idea, their top idea right now that is gaining them some momentum, you see them as direct competition. There's no question that WWE sees TNA as competition. If they didn't see TNA as competition, they would brush this off and be like, yeah, what the fuck ever. This shit was gay, it was corny, you know, whatever. But now they want to top themselves. Now they want to top TNA. So yes, WWE, no matter how many times they always put down TNA, they see TNA as direct competition. No question. No question. So it's going to be interesting to see how this develops with 2 weeks left, 2 Monday Night Raws left before Battleground. I don't even know when Battleground is. What is it, the 17th or the 24th? Man, I have no fucking idea. So that's how much I care about Battleground, really. And finally, guys, we got one reason why WWE pushed back the rematch between John Cena versus AJ Styles. Ever since Money in the Bank, the club has been practicing their favorite pastime of beating up John Cena. The 3-on-1 attacks have been building the feud for the next match between Cena and Styles. It was revealed on Monday night, earlier in this week, that John Cena will team with Enzo and Big Cass after they made the save from another club beatdown against them at Battleground. Cena, Enzo, and Big Cass versus the club at Battleground is bound to be a good match and provide a positive impact on the feud between Styles and Cena. But there are a few reasons why WWE is booking it this way. According to some information from several sources, the match is to prevent Cena from pinning Styles clean and to build their final match for SummerSlam. Also, Cena vs. Styles 2 will be featured on the first live edition of SmackDown during the live WWE draft. But that match is unlikely to end in a clean manner no matter the winner. Another interesting dynamic is the influence the match will have on Enzo and Big Cass, who are on pace to be the top face team in the WWE if the New Day is broken up. Being associated with Cena and the club will be a boost for them and give them more momentum than ever before, and a possible tag team title run sooner rather than later. Obviously, we know Styles and Cena, they don't need any build. They're going to build towards that regardless. The main thing here is that this is going to give a huge rub to both Enzo and Cass so soon after being promoted from NXT. There's no doubt in my mind Enzo and Cass will be the flag bearers for the tag team division. All these rumors you hear about Big Cass fighting Brock Lesnar and WWE breaking up Enzo and Cass via the draft, the same thing with the New Day. I doubt WWE is going to do something so idiotic. Enzo and Cass are big-time players. WWE knows it. This solidifies it. So Enzo and Cass are going to get a big rub from this feud. It sets up potential opponents with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. So I like this, man. I like this six-man tag. I think it's going to be great at Battleground. And I like that WWE is pretty much putting a stopgap with the Cena Styles matches, so we don't get them consecutively 3, 4, 5 times. They got something special with this feud, and WWE is letting it ride. They want to make that SmackDown on July 19th big, right? They want to make it big, and it's going to be big. And the way you make it big is you don't drag this shit out. You don't overdo it with fucking matches. It's going to feel more special if you do it less, Obviously, WWE is high on this. Everybody's high on this. They want to see it end, and they want to have it be a successful feud. I'm glad that they're saving it for SummerSlam as their last match. Like I said, that world title stipulation or that world title match with that tournament idea that I came up with would be beautiful if that is going to be the final match for these two. One of them ending up being the SmackDown branded world champion. But that is off the script, guys. Thank you so much. I got much more news coming later this week. Friday, we'll have episode 126. This week got a little bit fucked up due to me going to New Jersey, but back to normal fucking times next week, or this week, I should say, for Off the Script. But thank you guys so much. Monday Night Raw starting about an hour and a half. I'm going to upload this for you guys tonight, so you got it to watch after Monday Night Raw. I will be back during the Monday Night Raw review, obviously, as always, for tonight's show. Until then, guys, hit that thumbs up. Let me know what you think of all the top stories in part 4 here, right here on Off the Script. And I will be back later for Monday Night Raw, and then back on Friday for episode 126 of this very podcast. I'm JD. Thank you guys for watching. Leave me a comment down below, and I'll see you all later tonight for Monday Night Raw. Talk to you later.